MaJaMa Jams is brought to you by This Fart.
Yes! Go! Our hero goes underwater to find the treasure, but he's attacked by lethal jellyfish which sting him left and right. He relentlessly goes forward, swimming faster and faster, holding on to the treasure for dear life. Oh, this is gold!
Is the script stuck on?
Act 3, scene 46? Nope! World 2, level 2! It's Super Mario! Hold on, I got it on mute so we can all enjoy it. Oh, and now, got the flag! Woohoo! 5,000 points in your face, Bowser!
MaJaMa. MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
Hello?
Who's this?
Who's this?
The guy that owns the phone you're talking on. Where'd I leave it? By the pool?
Yeah?
Listen, I need a favor. I've got to catch a plane to Vegas in about 20 minutes, and I don't have time to come down to the pool. You bring it up to room 7. I'll give you $5. Deal?
Okay.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Welcome back, everyone, to MaJaMa Jams, a show where we discuss other people's work to avoid doing our own. Now, guys, today, in the name of bringing you some genuinely rare, out-in-the-wild stuff, we have found, you see over there on that little miniature pink couch, a VHS from the year of Y2K, the year that Miss Brittany Jean dropped Oops, I Did It Again, 2000. For some reason, 2002 on the DVD case. It is the worst... The VHS case. It is the worst decision we have possibly made in our adult lives, leading us to question what we are doing here every Thursday.
You were so excited last week.
We were supposed to watch it last week, but a certain someone didn't realize, this could be anyone in the room, that the fast forward button on his remote
Was interfering with
was
the
stuck.
machine. Yes.
Sadly, the ironic part is that fast forwarding through this movie would have been far more great. Now, there's a lot of talk in internet culture with white nerds on a couch breaking down less than savory movies about the phrase, so bad it's good. But today is going to be another interesting brick in the wall of that discussion, because a really crappy movie would have been better. This movie, while terrible, commits the cardinal sin of entertainment of being boring. And in fact, for the entire...
We do that every week.
Yeah. Well,
For the entire 85-minute runtime,
Not Big Shark.
it's like being in an effing purgatory
What?
where we see nothing but eggshell white rooms.
And kids.
If you die and don't go to heaven or hell and sit waiting in the middle, I have to imagine the motif of this movie is what it looks like aesthetically.
I just hope you guys can handle this.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is none other than Brad Heckenstein's Message in a Cell Phone.
Eric Fingelfort.
Eric Fingelfort's
No, is Eric...
Hendershot.
Hendershot.
Mark Stiegenberry. Jorge Blackenfeld.
Hendershot, yes.
Mark Hendershot.
Eric
No.
Hendershot.
Eric Hendershot.
Eric Hendershot decided he was going to chase his dreams, and in the process...
No, he made a sleuth of these movies of kids-oriented, because there is the detective kids. He has a
Oriental Detective Kids.
Coming up this fall on Oriental Detective Kids!
in Utah, where apparently he's based. But no, he has done it's kind of like Is
Let's just stop.
Let's vote.
Let's vote. Okay? Ready, everyone? Listen.
Is the equivalent? Is the Hallmark Christmas movie for kids?
Yes.
The action version of that.
Listen, here's the point.
Action.
The point is that my brother wants to do a show where all we review is crap because he's personally eye-rollingly bored by the idea of breaking down movies like me and Mateo like to. But I think it bit you in the ass this time. This was a truly terrible watch.
For you, perhaps.
Now, it remains to be seen if it's going to translate into gold in the Jams episode.
It will not.
What?
So let's do the synopsis. Here we go.
I want you to do it.
Okay, there's three
You
kids.
don't pay attention when we're normally watching a movie. When you've watched the movie several times and are watching it again, let alone this, that just your attention span is just clawing at the ground trying to catch up with what's happening.
This was genuinely difficult to watch. In fact, if I had to watch a beheading video, it might be easier than this. So we start off with three white children, two of which look like they're identical Yufking twins.
We don't start off with that.
There's a guy in a business suit who looks like
Ron DeSantis.
Ron DeSantis had a massive orgy with every Baldwin brother, and then after
They just emailed the semen.
and then all the semen
It
popped
exploded
off
out of the
their back
envelope.
like a gremlin in May. So our guy, he has something in his cell phone, and he leaves it at a pool, and the kids find it, and then they're like, hey, let's use this cell phone to get mad pussy. And then a 13-year-old kid hits up 5 different 57-year-old women
It's 11.
We're 11 years old.
who all start calling him back and say, hey, we want to get DP'd. But he's like, well, hold on, there's someone else calling about a butterfly belly tattoo. And he says, actually, I killed your dad in prison. He says, oh, no. And then they chase after it and they pick up the phone 87 times. They write a bunch of numbers down. And then eventually it turns out that guy had a ski mask in his car. So they bring a bunch of kids to a drug deal and then have the dad show up to handcuff them and then get massages by grown women and then jump into a pool. How'd I do?
I think we're good.
Yeah?
Great.
When you said DP, did you mean double penetration or deep penetration?
I don't think DP has ever stood for deep.
Director of photography.
Oh, I guess we were both wrong.
This is too weird.
So this is a take on the classic A Blank Check starring Brian Bonsall and Karen Duffy.
Kid, talk to me. How much you want for the bike?
$1,000.
I'm not talking to you. Bye, kid. Go on, walk away. What do you want, kid? Name a figure. We'll discuss it. Give this to your dad. He'll know what to do with it. I get to go.
This is the classic kids involved in a caper.
Brian, that's his name? The old guy?
Brian Bonsall is the kid
Oh,
in Blank Check.
that's an old grown man's name.
Do you define this movie as a caper or an olive?
Look.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So
This is-
I'm sorry. To be fair,
Mateo, don't.
and just like very very quickly, a guy is sent to prison. A kid accidentally, by the most fortuitous the coincidences, finds a cell phone where it gets recorded the name of the murderer, whose father the father is incarcerated because of that. So they made the
Yes.
father look like a fall guy, and for a series of circumstances, he decides with his 2 friends to return the cell phone and then to investigate this situation, and that leads to finding the real bad guy, who was a partner, working partner of the father, and then
Not a sexual partner.
not a sexual
that
partner.
we know of.
And then the father gets freed, and everybody's happy except for us, who
Listening to
watched the
that
movie.
was as bad as the movie was.
Yes.
Why didn't you tell me about all of this?
We now return to
MaJaMa.
Who are you? What are you talking about? I never got a message from Chick.
Now that you know when and where the bird's gonna fly and when the snow's gonna fall, you got your choice. You can either play our game or wind up like Chick.
What did you do to Chick?
Never mind Chick, are you in or not?
No.
Gonna be a hero like Mitchell Patterson, huh? Look where it got him.
I'm taking you in. Give me that.
Get back. Hey, get away from me!
So let's start going through the plot in painstaking detail.
Yes.
So we can at least recount what happened for everyone. Jason?
The trial.
Our lead, Tim Ritter. Chase. Our lead, Chase, is a precocious young boy with the classic blonde shock of a mushroom cut that we all had.
And buggy eyes.
It's kind of creepy eyes.
His dad is going to prison.
Eyes.
The three acting styles of the kid were bug eyes, hand gesture, and lollipop.
Yeah.
Those were the three.
That kid was sucking down those lollipops like Kojak.
Yes.
So the kid, Chase, his dad in the beginning gets convicted to 10 years in prison. And, his dad comes over to him and says, I love you, son. When I come back from this experience, I'm not going to be walking the same way. There's going to be a little bit of a difference in my step. And he says, why, Dad? And he's like, I just might be walking a little more bow-legged or crooked. And he's like, why, Dad? And he's like, well, it's just...
You're going to have to be the man of the house now.
And he keeps saying, why, Dad? And then eventually his dad says, well, I'm probably going to be viciously, anally destroyed by someone in prison. Your father's not a very strong, tough man. I wasn't built for this.
But the kid still doesn't understand.
He doesn't understand, so he says, how does this happen? I thought that how a baby was born is, a man sticks something to a woman. So he's like, well, let me show you. So the dad borrows
He's still handcuffed at this point, right?
The stenographer. He asks if he can borrow the sketch pad, and he asked the cop if he can start drawing.
But even that's not enough. So that's the bailiff for his nightstick. All over the course of 30 seconds. It's pretty impressive, actually.
On a family movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's probably something top secret.
And then Chase is by the... Why are they by a pool constantly?
All right, well, the weird thing is that the pool is not a community pool.
No.
It's a hotel pool.
And they're staying at the hotel?
No.
That's the thing. They don't stay at the hotel because there are 25 establishing shots of their house. His mom is a real estate agent, I guess.
She's very busy.
She's virtually never home.
Yeah.
Okay, honey, we'll have to talk later. Bye.
And the kid and his friends are at the pool. A chubby guy with a butterfly on his stomach.
Oh, what was the point of that?
Because then later on, when they confront the woman who pretends to be his wife.
Whoa, wait a minute. I have another question to ask.
Okay, go ahead.
For the cell phone, does Felix have any birthmarks, scars, or tattoos on his body?
Yeah, Felix has a tattoo.
When she has no idea what they're talking about, so she improvises on the arm. She has a mark. He has a mark.
Really put it that some dude has a 16-year-old's tramp stamp butterfly tattoo on his belly?
It was very sexy.
It's for comedy.
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm tired of this.
The thing is this: the movie is not a comedy.
Yes.
By any stretch of imagination. Not even that it's trying to be a comedy and fails. It's not a comedy. The tone is a semi-serious movie. I mean, you don't have the feeling that the kids are never ever in danger of being shot in the head or something.
No,
But
Mateo nailed it with it's the Lifetime movie vibe. It's some sort of like...
Relax, you're safe now. Everything's gonna be okay.
because if you're watching a Disney movie from the 60s and the 70s, the live action.
No more after this.
Like a Snowball Express or Now You See Him, Now You Don't.
Snowball Express, isn't that what happened to the kid's dad in prison?
If you watch those movies, or even Escape from Witch Mountains, you get a certain vibe of levity. This one doesn't have, and I mean, it starts with the most dramatic thing possible: a kid who loses his dad to jail
because of drugs.
Yes.
Mitchell Arthur Patterson, I sentence you to 10 years in the state penitentiary without the possibility of parole.
So there is this. The tone is completely serious, if you will, and
shut up. Just shut up.
It's just interesting that...
No, just shut up.
Hold it, guys.
You know, there's levels, and it's so fascinating. So maybe you watch Blank Check, and you're
maybe
like,
not.
But yeah. So maybe you watch it, and you're like, this isn't that good, right? And you're like, this is kind of like a cheap little Disney throw-off. But then, and I find this genuinely fascinating. You watch this, and all of a sudden Blank Check mutates, and it's like, oh, there's different levels. Like, you could make critiques about Blank Check that would be similar, like a light puff piece, unrealistic, based. It's a similar kid gets involved with mobsters. You could do another like, oh, like they would have just broken his legs, or it's a little too over the top, or writer's convenience. But then you watch this, and whether it be budgetary or talent or whatever,
or both,
it's like all of a sudden, like a magic trick, Blank Check looks like a magnum opus because.
Okay, you got it.
You know what I'm trying to say? It's just fascinating how I feel like the general public that doesn't delve into... I still remember there was a time when you guys would meet up to watch the garbage more than I would, for whatever reason. And you'd be like, why don't you come watch these bad movies with us? Right? It seems insane to think about now, but I really feel like you guys would meet up for a lot of that and be like, Jay, you have to see this stuff. And so,
who knows what you'll find in there?
It's just fascinating that
this movie,
it makes everything seem different. It makes everything have a sheen. Like Blank Check is like, oh, we're operating at a different level. You watch this and it's like you see what they're trying to emulate, but it's completely lacks. Like we can barely, like it's a vacuum sucking even like the ability to make fun of it effectively. It's just boring, and like I said, it's interesting because it's the cardinal sin. Like, you watch Samurai Cop. Or a Neil Breen.
Can you hear me? Dylan?
Or something like that, and it really is gold. Even if it's also painful to get through. But something like this is fascinating because, again, it's almost like the talk good about me, talk bad about me, but talk about me. It's like, be extremely good, be extremely bad, but be extremely. This is the cardinal sin of just the friggin', the lack of a heartbeat and the... It doesn't move up, it doesn't move down. Everything is white, every actor is boring.
I don't know, what do you think?
And it's like this void, and it's just interesting to see filmmaking at this level. And then again, this, when you get down to something like The Amazing Bulk, which inspired us to think we could actually make a movie, then all of a sudden this is like, wait.
At least The Amazing Bulk has colors.
So, like, you watch The Bulk, and then all of a sudden this looks like ratcheted up a couple levels to confidence, and there's a totem pole. So, more so than this movie's so boring, we could pick apart and make fun of it, but it's almost like a lesson in the movie Totem Pole where there's these areas where all of a sudden when something is kind of very incompetent or low level, it illustrates and illuminates what the hierarchy is. And this thing was just incredibly boring across the board. Not a spark of life. We kind of get the playfulness of the three friends, which honestly I would have leaned into a little more. I mean, not that he doesn't try to, but...
probably not making one a sexual maniac.
She must be new. Let's go.
That kid's gonna be trouble when he gets older.
Well, he has done just this movie, so...
Okay, so you were saying you looked at... The director has done several of these kid
yeah.
capers, but the cast is pretty much relegated to just this film.
Several, except for the protagonist who went up to doing things...
So you mean the little blonde kid?
The Chase.
Chase, okay.
He wound up somewhere in High School Musical.
What?
The first one, and the third one in apparently 2 different roles.
Huh.
And the first one was Alan. I haven't seen the movie, so I have no idea who that is. I don't make me watch a High School Musical for finding his cameo here.
Hard to believe that I couldn't see that you were always right there next to beside me.
Alan, I admire your
This
pluck.
feeling
As to your
like
singing,
no other.
that's a wonderful tie you're wearing. Next!
I mean, once again, would be amazing compared to this.
I'm sure, yes.
See, the hierarchy. Oh, High School Musical, that's like a Disney stuff for teens. We wouldn't want to watch that. We'll watch this instead. Wait, now all of a sudden it seems like we might not be into a High School Musical, but the production values would be like slicker. I'm just fascinated by this, I think, because the general public doesn't know these type of movies exist.
All right. Okay. All right. You win.
We now return to
MaJaMa.
Jeremy, we gotta get out of here. The guy's here. Come on. Jeremy, what are you doing? My fingerprints are everywhere. Get that. Come on.
This is...
they don't know this type of movie exists.
This is what happened in the late 90s, early, what are they called? Aughts and tens, maybe. When you would go to the video store, because there were no streaming services back then. So this movie probably was made for...
DTV.
No, I was thinking like...
DTP.
Not even $200,000 or something like that. I don't
Christ, I hope not.
But you would go to
Made me sick thinking about that number being used for this movie.
Blockbuster or Hollywood Video or whatever other place and you're trying to rent a movie that the whole family could watch. And there was a bunch of pathetic horror movies that you would rent them based mostly by the cover. Literally, you were asked to judge a book by its cover, or in that case, a movie. And this one, you see, okay, is for the family, is the kid is a protagonist, so maybe we can...
He's trapped in a cell phone, trying to figure out codes. There's a bunch of numbers.
Do you got it? It seems like the front marketing is
terrible cover for that, and for that matter of trying to sell the cover.
Yes.
I was gonna say that the front marketing is very much exclusively about the kids trying to crack the code. Now you guys know damn well I don't remember ish, but am I wrong that there wasn't much of that in the actual makeup of the movie? I figure there was a bunch of frantic this number, no.
There's a point where they're like, oh, you take 6, 8, 9, I'll take 5, 4, and 3. Like, what does that mean?
Hey, we could take every third number and see if we could figure it out. Good thinking, Chase. Thanks. Okay, I'll take 147. Jeremy, you take 258. And Mac, you take 369. Who's gonna take 0? I'll take 0. If any of you crack the code and get the message, call me. Okay, you got it.
But how would they split that up? What are they splitting up?
I don't know.
Oh.
This is...
I thought that they were saying, like, you try to figure out every combination starting with 6.
Oh, I guess if they had different phones, they could have...
Yeah, and this is the equivalent, the cell phone equivalent of Electric Dreams.
Ah! Miles. Oh my God. Hello?
Hello.
You're talking.
Where computers started to get very...
we
in
should
everybody's
talk about
house.
that.
This one
Shut up, man.
was...
Make the episode longer.
When cell phones started to be really a thing, and so at a certain point they mention, oh no, there is not a tape.
I have an idea. Why don't you open up the phone, take the tape recorder out, and get the message off of it?
The message isn't inside the cell phone. It's at a message center someplace.
Plus, we should also stress that if in this cell phone, back in the day to get voicemail, you would call your own number, or maybe sometimes dial 1, and then you would have to enter a passcode, and then you could listen to your messages, and you could do that from any phone you wanted to.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yes, it must be mentioned that this, actually that's a great comparison. In Electric Dreams, it was very important to underline the fact that this movie was made when computers were a genuinely fascinating, new, fresh technology.
When computers were made with magic, and this one pretty much is the same thing.
Right.
They're made with magic.
In fact, it would kind of explain why the hook is so cell phone centric, because it's like there's this new, fresh thing we don't fully understand. What if there was a message trapped in it?
Yeah, and also. We do it for kids, so it's
never 2 kids.
Never 2 kids.
Just 4 kids.
I'm not having fun.
All right, welcome to first day of preschool. Remember, we do it we do it 4 kids, never 2 kids. Right? Did I get that right? We like the first one better.
What's it?
What is that thing? It looks like a picture of a rabbit nostril. No, this is a close-up.
The only moment that it was very exciting in the whole movie, it was when the villain trips on the stairs.
It looked genuine too.
See? Because they realized that probably he would have caught the kid in 2 steps, so they had to keep him behind.
There's also a scene where a grown woman can't
get it up.
Yes.
Can't get the phone away from them.
Women can do that? Or?
I guess.
I'm sorry? Oh.
They don't have the same stuff as us.
Well, not all of them.
It goes in.
But then...
What goes in?
It's a hole.
So we find out she's later a actual undercover cop.
Yeah.
Who's trying to get the cell phone. Also, the fact that this kid just stumbles across this whole thing when it's his dad is wrapped up in this whole police thing, where his partner is actually the one who's been doing something with drugs, but they plant the drugs in the dad. They get him in prison. So there's other cops who are working to expose the corrupt police force. So she is one of them, and she asked them to come to the hotel room where the fat guy originally was.
Yes.
Room number 7. I'm not
She
sure how
pretends
she
to
gets
be her husband.
Yeah.
His
And then that's when they ask about the tattoo. His husband.
Her
husband.
tattoo?
His wife. She pretends to be his wife.
Yes.
That's it.
How do we know that you're really Felix's wife?
Yeah.
Who else would I be?
I don't know, but unless you could show us some proof that you're really Felix's wife, I am not going to give you this cell phone.
Okay, well, I don't have any of his ID or papers with me because he, of course, has them with him.
Oh, and then the soundtrack when they open the door to see her.
Hi, guys. Come on in.
The entire soundtrack.
It's done on a Casio.
Dude, the opening credits. They had the CGI cell phone that they were doing, the classic close-up shot of what is this? Oh, look how sleek it is. Oh, now it's opening up, and the music is just the most synthesized.
Speaking of the amazing bulk, remember at the end we watched the interview with the guy, and he was like, yeah, I wasn't sure how I was going to finish these movies, but then I found out that there were these programs that had all these plugins you could just use and put like stock images in there.
So
and he was speaking about it as if he was genuinely excited. And again, when you hear this soundtrack, I'm like, are you just at a low level and you're like, look, we got to pull this thing off by the skin of our teeth. I found a guy that does soundtracks. You know what? It's not great, but that's going to work. Give it like, it's just so hard to imagine a guy hearing this soundtrack for the movie.
It's not going to work.
And
it's
then
right here.
They're like, hey, what's up with Bert Henderson? Is he happy with the soundtrack? And then he's just dangling from the shower. Like, it's just... The guy calls him to see what he thought about the soundtrack, and he's offed himself in a hotel bathroom.
You sure you checked the closets? Not in the bathtub.
Like, I just want answers. I want a genie to appear, and he says, what's your wish? And I say, I want you to make me invisible in the room at the moment when Tad Henderfleck listened to his Message in his Cell Phone soundtrack the first time, and I want to be this close to his face as an invisible observer.
I don't
and
think
see...
there was anything checked off. It was just like, okay, we need music. Okay, put it in there. And then it just happened.
Explain it to me!
No, this is something that...
I mean, it's got to be made.
Tell him I'm busy.
It's made.
It's made?
It's got to be made. You just got to make it. Just keep adding stuff to it.
This where probably he had... I wouldn't exclude that he had a...
brain tumor.
Okay, pick your hand up and just rest it on the keyboard. Okay, take it off. He's still... Just wipe the drool. Here we go again. Put it down. This time. Pick it up. Okay, wipe the drool again. Is that good enough? Is that...
No, but
just loop those two notes. You ever hear the Eyes Wide Shut soundtrack? Little bit.
This is highly likely this gentleman writer-director, because he was also the author of the story.
What an asshole.
He probably had a...
Wait, what do you mean the author of the story?
He wrote the goddamn thing too.
He wrote the story and then wrote the screenplay?
Yes.
I think there's one in the same.
So probably he had a deal with a company and they say, hey, I can give you, 2 or 3 or 5 of these movies in 1 year.
Well, one's enough, buddy.
Which, no, because actually back then they were extremely profitable.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you $10,000.
Imagine because you're thinking with the Los Angeles mentality, but if you are,
I think with the Utah mentality.
Yes, no, but if you're outside of the shiny world of Los Angeles and the glitz and glamour, and you go really on a Saturday night to a Blockbuster for trying to find something for the family, these were absolutely incredible for.
I completely agree.
For that time period. Seeing now, you say, "Oh my God, the hell is that?"
Well, no. This is my thing. Is that?
I mean, again, these still exist.
I would have to be some sort of like mentally deficient sociopath to not actually grasp why the business of stuff like the asylum movies work. My thing is just that they're like, hey, we're gonna cut corners to make a cheeseburger that tastes like literal shit. But it's gonna, business-wise, it's gonna work out.
To cut corner to make it taste literally like that, because otherwise, though, you cannot. This is almost a taste. Nope, it has to taste exactly.
Go into the bathroom and eat your own again for a comparison. Listen.
Oh again.
My only point is, if okay, it makes sense business-wise, and we're gonna clean up by making our burger taste like shit. But then when your clientele comes in, aren't they going to be like, that's a shitty burger?
It's not intentional shit.
But that's
I think
what I'm saying.
Okay, let's
a swindle.
Let's make cheap ingredients and make this burger so we can make it for cheap. And
we're going to put it in a box that makes it seem nice, but then when they get home, they're going to eat a burger that tastes like crap.
Luckily, actually, this cover matches what's inside of the DVD.
No, but here's what I'm saying.
VHS.
Your plan is great up until the point a family gets to consumption. And then I cannot...
It's too late. They got the movie.
Yes, exactly. But that's what I'm saying is that the only thing
inside the house.
The only thing that throws me off is that this plan means that at the moment of truth, you're like, oh, we got this burger for so cheap, it's poop! And you're like, sorry, the sign says no refunds. We win. That's what this is. Yeah. Oh, God. Well, kids, just keep eating it because you need sustenance.
I thought that your local, your establishment was called Shits and Giggles just because, but instead, no, it's exactly what you're serving.
It's called It's Poop Burger. It's poop again.
Why didn't you tell me about all of this?
I don't know, Mom. I didn't want to scare you. I needed to talk to Dad first.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing of what they were doing in the 50s and the 60s. They were actually spending more money. We lost him. They were actually spending more money in the poster of a movie than in the movie itself. Because the most important thing was get people.
Get inside.
Get
doors.
people-
Lock doors.
I have plenty of movies that you say, "Oh my God! If the movie is like this poster is amazing," and it was not. But back then, having no internet or having a very limited resources, and you didn't know. You were just like guessing. Many times I went to the video store just trying to figure out if the movie that I was holding was worth it or not. There weren't shelves saying good movies, okay movies, at your risk.
That's a pretty funny idea.
And because everything is subjective.
Except this.
This is objectively bad.
Okay.
We now return to
MaJaMa.
Well, it also should be said, I was fascinated by the fact that I think there were 2 videos showing the trailer on YouTube, but usually, no matter how friggin' obscure the movie we pick is, I'm like, did we do it? Are there no reviews on YouTube? We're like, there's at least 10, no matter how review. So this found, I think, 2 videos of the trailer, but no reviews. What was it like when you Googled it? I know there's at least everything has
Google punched me in the mouth. It's just like it was a
computer
very...
shut down.
Yes. No, but once again, year 2000, you don't care. You don't have, there was not the obsession of going on Letterboxd or on anything else to judge a movie, to say, oh, this movie is horrible.
How many kid capers did the director do?
In real life or in movies?
I made 1 movie, but I've been kidnapping these things for years.
I think it was about 1.5 dozen.
What?
Yeah. I tell you, if, I'm telling you. If you get a deal with a distribution company and say, I can give you, for instance, I'm just like shooting stuff. I don't know at all if this money is plausible. But if you say, if you give me $1 million, I give you 5 of this in 1 year, because this one is probably has been shot at best in 3 weeks, I think. Maybe a little longer because they're 3 kids and they have limited time on the set, and they are a lot in the movie. But let's say a month. You can do these movies fairly quickly because the plot is incredibly simple as a story, and just
very confusing.
It's just funny.
Yeah, because it's not everything. It's not okay.
It feels really quiet in here.
Yes.
Do you feel it?
Yes.
I feel like my ears are almost gonna start to ring with some like I'm having a heart attack and you can't hear or breathe anything.
There must be a bomb somewhere, and it's about to.
It seems oddly like. Wait, do we usually have background music? No, it just seems really like there's this eerie
This is our
stillness
lowest
to
point.
it.
Yes. This is just like the Hallmark Christmas movies. There are 975 every year. So much so that at the end you cannot tell them apart one from the other. But it doesn't matter as long as it's content. And
It's funny. Because you know what's happening?
It's sad, but
we're balking at the business. We're balking at the business. You know what it is? It's just base level money making, and then you can't shut this off. So you're like, why would someone do something for business and not the art of it? And then it's funny because you have other people who look at us like a bunch of idiots, like, great job with your integrity. How's sitting on the couch with no money going? And it's
not too good, my dude.
It's these hilarious systems where it's just going to be good and evil forever.
Don't ask!
And the only reason we're balking at this is because it's art brain, and we're like, it's disgusting you would make this just to turn a profit. Meanwhile, the guy that made this is like, I got a kid, dude. I fed him for months for that. You're stupid because you've got this little, and you know what I mean?
He said that to you?
And he just chuckled.
He called him
they
earlier.
said that to me at a dinner.
On the cell phone.
On the cell phone.
Coincidence? Yes.
I just think it's funny.
He knows what he was doing.
But
I just think it's funny.
Yeah, no, but because they're not incompetently done in terms of shot and framing.
Yeah, it's just very bland and rudimentary. And
Yes, it's just like is the bare
let's
minimum.
get it done.
Is the
And like,
bare
okay, we had 2 different sets. Okay, we have the house. That's our friend's house. We can
It's
shoot
so
at.
white.
The school.
Everything is white. No, look, no joke. Every
white and brown and beige.
Every building, setting, facade, interior
Everyone's
is white.
in like terribly baggy, awful, oversized
They probably
t-shirts.
Bruce
and
Almighty.
clothes.
Bruce Almighty, when he's talking to Morgan as God.
Who are you? I'm the one. Creator of the heavens and the earth. Alpha and Omega.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Bruce, I'm God.
Bingo! Yahtzee!
And everything's just white?
Yeah.
No joke, that's this movie. Everything is
No,
just
no,
white,
no.
constantly.
But
white, plain boringness.
It's gray and
Amazingly
beige.
is that in Bruce Almighty, even if Morgan Freeman is white, he pops in the middle of that white.
Morgan Freeman is white?
He's dressed in white.
That's a different. I don't think you should be using that as a
But-
comparison at all.
Why?
Because it's made to look like a white void.
No, I'm just,
No,
yes,
this
I'm,
one-
that's,
I get it. I
I'm
don't
making
think
fun
I
of it
don't
by
think you
saying
should
in
be
that
using
when
that
they were intending to
comparison,
be a
no.
white
It
void.
looks like that they went to Home Depot to buy the paint, and they only picked up the little thing with the color, and it was beige, a little darker beige, and a little darker beige, and they went with that.
So we should probably talk a little bit more about the actual.
I guess I'm just chuckling at myself because this movie is offensive to people like us. And we go through life and we're like, wow.
Wow!
We're comedian brain people. What we like to do is laugh at people that take offense. Man, not us with these acid twinged sharp tongues. But when something like this happens, it's genuinely offensive to our art brains. But someone who understands life is like,
I have to believe anyone that watches this would be offended by it.
It's.
I'm just trying to poke fun at myself by, when you have these conversations, you realize that what's happening is or me, should I say, poking fun at myself. I'm genuinely
Are you talking about the
offended.
conversations you have with yourself?
I'm genuinely offended that someone would make this without worry about how the final product would be artistically. And that statement is very funny.
Thanks.
To someone like Dad or people that actually have to live. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So the whole purpose of this, the reason we wanted to do this episode is because to people like us, this movie is offensive. But if you think about it in terms of cold, hard life, it's like being like, why are you friggin' working at Whole Foods? That's not what you wanted to do. What, are you just working there to get money? And it's like, yes. It's like, oh. And it's essentially this, but with the artist cap on. It's like, well, that's very offensive.
No, there is not even artist cap. You just like make a product.
Anyway.
But there is some level of competence, but it's just it's a simple product that you want to give, and that is it. So the same enthusiasm, for lack of better words, of the composer to make the music of this, who probably did it in 3 days, maybe. There is that. You say, hey, I have to give this to them. There is no art.
They have a family.
Is that. And you see it nowadays on a larger scale. Indiana Jones, nobody begged for that movie, and the result was lukewarm at best. Yes, it's always pleasant to see Harrison Ford insulting younger actors or something, but I would have lived fine without it. That's just like the product of greed.
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
And so a
And
lot
nostalgia.
of... Yeah, but
It's
still...
partially our fault.
No.
Yeah, it's partially our fault.
Partially, but this year, this time,
I think the
we didn't
audience
fall for it.
Audience have been
'Cause
sending a message.
we went
that
to
they
see
don't.
it, but a lot of people didn't, because they didn't give a damn.
We'll figure things out.
All right, Matthew, you wanted to get back more to the actual plot you were saying because you felt sad. So what parts didn't we cover? There was the part where...
The kid was a sexual maniac,
Right.
And
Plus, there's like a 10-minute montage of him swimming behind girls, trying
so
to catch
so
them.
he looks like the protagonist and
don't-
not Chase.
Forget about the most cliche gag in the world of
Oh.
saying hi to the person behind you, which could have, like you said, taken 10
Oh.
seconds and plays out for about 2 minutes.
Plus, they keep calling him Brock. They keep going, Brock, hey, Brock, get in the car, Brock. And, like, the kid's obviously hearing that they're saying a name.
Yes.
So was his name Brock, too?
No.
Come on, Brock. Come here. Come on. Brock, come on. Come on. Come here. Forget the work. Come on, come get in the car. Come on.
So he was just thinking that they were calling to him. So some guy mowing the grass was like, get out of it.
He literally goes, yeah.
No, the most offensive thing in terms of storytelling is that when the kid confesses to his dad, who's in jail.
Now listen, whatever you do, don't let the cell phone out of your sight.
They're not going to go through with the drop as long as they don't have it.
Okay, as soon as you crack the code and get the message,
You come right back here, you hear me?
It's just that's okay, keep figuring it out.
Yeah.
Go ahead and keep cracking
Yes,
it's the first time
that has
the
a
mom
cell
hears it,
phone,
too.
And exactly. And he tells the mom. The mom doesn't seem absolutely. She say, okay, fine.
Chase Patterson, for the last time, come and eat. I have got to go.
She's like, why didn't you tell me this? But then after that, they're like both okay with it. The dad tells him to continue trying to crack the code. The dad knows that he got locked up for 10 years without any hope of parole because of a corrupt police force who I think is his chief. Is that the center of it? So he knows that there's some real dangerous people here who are moving drugs and planting drugs.
And also the dad being a cop, or at least, because they call him sergeant at the end or something like that. He would have said somebody, hey, I need to talk to the judge. There is something.
Yeah. His partner. Why doesn't he reach out to his partner?
Yes, we have some proofs that I might be innocent.
Instead, he's like, yeah, keep working on it, kid. You got all summer.
Yeah. The mom doesn't care.
School. And then the mom, they go home. She lets him keep the cell phone.
Yes.
She sees him on it. She says, I got to go out to do some selling homes again at like 9 o'clock at night. So what the hell is she up to? But she makes him dinner, and the whole time's like, yeah, you can keep the phone, keep playing with it, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, how would both of the parents
and then
be like,
the kid, when the
keep
kid,
trying to crack the code, kid?
And then when the kid is in danger, he doesn't use the cell phone to call 911.
He specifically walks to the next room to try to use a landline.
Yes.
Chase, bring the phone downstairs.
And turns off the cell phone because they keep calling it, and it says,
The cell phone you are trying to reach has been turned off. Please leave a message at the tone or try your call again later.
So that means doesn't mean it's just closed. It means it's off.
It's off.
I wonder if this was the inspiration for cellular.
It's weird because it's off, but throughout the movie he keeps on receiving calls, so he doesn't turn it off.
And why would you not? The whole movie is based on a cell phone. You're using it constantly. You're getting calls constantly. You're using it constantly. Why would you not call the police with that cell phone and instead run to the next room for a landline? And you can say to make the movie happen, but at the same time, it's so offensively dumb.
Because, for instance, at the end when there is the arrest of the bad guy, that even the dad is there in the middle of nowhere. He's already being
mother effing kids and mom.
The kids and
the four squad cars pull up to catch the
They
chief
show up to the drug deal?
who's behind it, and that's when they're like, okay, this is the thing we've been waiting for. That's what the message was about. This is where the drop's gonna be, what time the drop's gonna be, this and that. So the chief who's behind it shows up, and then he's instantly swarmed by 4 cop cars, and then 1 car pulls up with the mom and the 3 kids. So the mom would have had to be like, hey, I'm going to call your parents to let you know, hey, I'm going to be taking your son to a drug bust today. It's okay, his dad's going to be there, the cops are going to be there, they're not actually going to be picking up drugs, they're going to catch him before he does that. I'm like, what universe would that be like, yeah, bring him down.
And the dad is already free.
Yeah.
And no problem whatsoever.
The chief hasn't been tried, he hasn't even been arrested by the time the dad shows up.
Yeah, hey, he arrests him.
Yeah, he arrests him.
Lieutenant Patterson! We could use your help over here.
pleasure.
I mean, I get it. You want to have your end. That's why I was kind of surprised when they were like, "Oh, okay, we caught his partner who was bad all along."
Yes.
Which neither dad calls, be like, "Hey, my son has a cell phone. I think it's connected to my case. Somehow my son happened to stumble across something that's connected to my case. But regardless of that, why don't you try to take the phone from him, get it away from my 11-year-old son, and try to figure out what's up with his cell phone, who's connected to it, as opposed to just, okay, yeah, keep working on it, kid. Let me know what you find out."
What do you think it's like having a son?
Something like this?
We now return to
MaJaMa.
Hello?
Where are you?
Who is this?
It's Felix Reiser.
Can you hold for a minute? What's the matter? Says he's Felix Reiser.
Yeah, right. And he lost 200 pounds in one day. This guy can make serious bucks with that diet.
I told you something funny was going on. He must not know we saw Felix at the pool yesterday.
There are a couple of writer's convenience.
Couple?
Yeah, well, several. But when the kid is going to return the phone to Butterfly Guy, Felix, I think, he overhears through the door they mention the name of his dad.
Gonna be a hero like Mitchell Patterson, huh? Look where it got him.
Yeah.
Then later on, when he is when he is talking to one of the 25 people who are trying to reach him, his mom enters and calls him Chase.
Chase Patterson, for the last time.
So the bad guy finds out that his name is Chase and say, "Oh, I know who that is." That's the only thing that made sense. Why the bad guy with the mask was able to get to the house, because at that point he knew that it was Chase, the son of his partner, and he knew where he lived. But it's incredibly...
I kept thinking they were going to do some kind of Home Alone style Three Ninjas.
If only.
Trap.
If only.
Yeah.
But they
If
literally,
only.
he hides behind some pillows, jumps out
Yes.
from behind the pillows,
and then
runs around a room a bunch of times till the killer comes behind him and crushes his esophagus.
Lupuslipophobia.
The only playful moment is where they're just playing catch with the phone with the lady.
Yeah, and then they end up...
Who jumps on the kitchen counter, she loses her shoes, but then when she chases them into the bedroom, she has the shoes back on. She
probably slipped it on when she was running through the hallway.
Sometimes when you guys are recounting the details of these movies and you're like, "Oh yeah, there's the part where Captain Rico came and said to the kid, we're going to do this," and I'm like, "It's all over. I didn't maintain any of this, so you guys actually know everything." You're like, "Well, we were bored too," but you're like, "Here's every detail."
In this situation, I think me and Mateo have the bigger problem than you. The fact that we retain this is indicative of
You
some
guys
bigger
really
issue.
maintain a lot, though. You'd be like, "Yeah, remember around 17 minutes, he dropped the kid's phone. He said, quack, quack."
And then left his cell phone at the pool. I took it up to his room, but someone shot him. And then, in the mask, what's the phone? Because there's a message on it.
But also, if that lady's undercover police officer trying to get the phone back, at a certain point, like, when are you going to start fighting 3 11-year-old boys? And also not be able to overtake them, but that's...
Yeah,
aside.
and also not telling them I'm the police.
Yeah, or have some sort of backup there to grab
or,
the
you
kids.
know, just being like, "Look at these." Oh, there got the cell phone.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. But at a certain point, they're all on top of her, pinned down on the bed, and like, "Whoa, okay, this is..." And then she's like grabbing her nostrils, but he doesn't actually dig into her nostrils to hold her head back.
And then she's like, "Pull my hair." And like, "What?"
What a lovely episode.
Why did we do this? Listen, this movie is...
Plus the whole tagline is, "Can these kids crack the code?" And literally it's like, "Oh, okay, we're just going to guess." And they even say, "We don't know if it's a 4-digit code or an 8-digit code."
Okay, try this one.
No. I'm tired of this. We don't even know if the code's 4 digits or 8 digits.
So they're like, "Oh, okay, let's just try some numbers." But that's literally like 2 minutes of the movie.
The tagline says, "The secret's out. Now what shall we do?"
No, it's what ya.
What?
How do you
Do you guys want to start unspooling the tape from this on camera?
No, but I wanted to know where the dog went.
The dog.
They made the hilarious prank in the morgue.
Oh.
Because one of the...
there was a morgue in this movie.
This better be good. It'll be really good. Promise. All right, follow me and don't touch anything.
The dad of one of the lollipop kid works in a funeral
It's just
home.
a woodshed in the backyard.
Yeah. Yeah. So he asks the other kids to give him
$1
money
to see the body.
to see a cadaver.
And he's even like, hey, I don't think the girls can handle this. I'll give you your money back. And like, no, we want to see it. And then the one bully kid's like,
I didn't pay $1 to look at a sheet, but there's not even a body under there.
Anyway.
and so he pulls off, I guess they got paper mache pants and some sneakers, size 16.
Yes.
And then they pull off the blanket and there's been a dog's head, a dog underneath the blanket the whole time, being perfectly still.
Yes.
And the two kids are hiding underneath the table, giggling, even though I thought they were gonna like jump out.
Yeah,
and make the body
I
shake.
was thinking that when he was about to pull that, they would come out.
Yeah,
and go,
or make the body fall off or something.
And everybody lives in terror except for one of the kids.
The bully
who says,
kid. He's like, yeah.
Good.
But wouldn't he be pissed because he's like, I want my
Yeah.
dollar back if you're not going to show us something like that? Either way, I'm assuming that's to establish. So later on, then we find the fat guy with a butterfly tattoo on his stomach.
Again, coincidence. I mean, granted, probably the town where they are is not that big, so that's the only funeral home.
And I guess you can almost say the same thing for the kid finding the cell phone and getting involved in the police
Yes.
sting. But then again, why is everyone staying in a hotel? Why are the kids at the hotel pool? And do they go there that often?
Yeah, that's not really
But
established.
like you could do. Well, I mean, obviously you could do a lot of things with this.
And also the fact that the kid sees a cell phone ringing and he picks it up at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's that thing like, okay, I'm walking past a payphone, it's ringing. Why are you staring at me like that?
Wow, that all sounds crazy. Hey kids, me, Randy the Reality Rex. And the important thing to take away from this is if you're a young kid involved with a cell phone or grown-ups, you probably shouldn't do it. Ah!
It's a good message.
Yeah.
Let's kill ourselves. Let's express our feelings by throwing pieces of paper. I have not a clue what to throw. We're going to start with Matthew.
I have 5 clues what to throw. This was unwatchable, absolute bottom of the barrel. Just get it done so we can
By the
sell
way,
it.
didn't you find it on the bottom of the barrel?
Yes. We had
Was
to
that
scrape
Goodwill?
through a few levels of scum and
okay.
crime. So I'm going to give this a 5 just because there was no redeeming, nothing you could grasp onto when you're drowning. Oops.
Wonderful.
I mean, they went in.
Yeah, all of them. I second the motion. The guy falling on the stairs wasn't enough to save the movie. So 5 for me.
All right.
All 5 for me, Argentina. No.
It couldn't be anything else but 5. I thought this would be fun. It was a real struggle. And all joking aside, there was times when I asked what we were doing with our lives. You know, it was really bad, but it's a good lesson that
Never watch a movie like this again.
never watch a movie like this. But it really is true. The cardinal sin is being boring, and it really illuminates how a lot of stuff is more watchable, even if it's terrible. This is just nothing. Mediocrity, purgatory on film, all whiteness. 5 from all members of MaJaMa. My friends.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
I hope this was fun.
No. For who?
Would like you guys to hit that.
They're not going to do that after this episode.
Hit that subscribe button.
Maybe if you got them in the first couple minutes.
We're
but
drowning.
Not now.
Please like and subscribe. Please help us. You're sitting there. Maybe you're on your phone at work. Maybe you're on the couch, but you're looking at us, and we really need help. We're really afraid. You know, we try to put on a brave face every week, but we've been trapped in this apartment for over 2 months, and it's not good. But how you guys can help us? Hit that subscribe button.
This is coming across very pathetic.
This is Matthew. I'm Jason. This is Matteo Molinari from Italy. And this has been another MaJaMa Jams. Come back next week when we're going to have an all-new movie that we're diving into.
Hopefully a good one.
And don't forget that Halloween is coming up soon. And that's a jam.
Wow. What a great energetic ending to the show.
We could destroy the tape.
Nah, it's already been done.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
Well, you find when you bite into McDonald's sandwich, you'll find Mary in the middle is swimming in sauce. It's tender on a home-style bun with pickles and a taste of onion. All meat on the crib all through. Tastes like a noble